What is good, Cardano fam, ADGM? We have lots of exciting updates to unpack today, so hit that subscribe, hit that like. Cardano ADA 24-hour trade volume surpasses $1.3 billion according to CoinGecko. ADA's 24-hour gains also rank number 1 according to CoinGecko, and CoinMarketCap ranks Cardano as the 4th most bullish community sentiment at over 89%. CoinDesk highlights Cardano as the best performing asset in their CoinDesk 20 index. Bitwise, with over $15 billion in assets under management, launches its Bitwise 10 Crypto Index ETF BITW on the New York Stock Exchange. So they've converted their fund into a ETP, and now trading is live, featuring Avalanche, Bitcoin, Cardano, Chainlink, Ethereum, Litecoin, Polkadot, Solana, SUI, and XRP. LBank, with over 20 million users, lists night perpetuals paired with USDT and up to 20x leverage. And we saw yesterday tons of exchanges have listed nights. We're going to keep an eye on more and more centralized exchanges. I think we'll see a lot more list. Strike integrates midnight perpetuals. Users can now long or short night with up to 30x leverage. Cardano's VESPR wallet launches a new update to show night redemptions schedules directly in-app across all platforms, including Android, iOS, Brave, Chrome, and Edge, enhancing their user experience. I think this is fantastic. Small updates like this save users a lot of clicks, bouncing between websites. Thumbs up. Wanchain launches a new cross-chain bridge for midnight, enabling direct night transfers between BNB chain and Cardano. There was a fantastic space this morning. I have all the highlights from the space with Midnight Foundation President Fahmi Syed. Let's jump right into it. He says, "What I look for and I care for is technology and what it could do for businesses, infrastructure, and the fabric of society. How we operate and think about ownership, whether it's assets, data, and beyond." He goes on to say the Bitcoin whitepaper was published a week after the 2008 Great Financial Crisis. You realize really quickly the banks that should have been guardians and custodians of your money were basically gambling it away. He says Bitcoin showcased a way to create a decentralized layer of truth, freedom without any restrictions or censorship. Programmability showed great advances in freedom, but all at the expense of transparency. He says if we think about our normal day-to-day lives and how we operate, we're often very rational and thoughtful about how we share information. We don't share sensitive information, right? And that reminds me of the Animoca co-founder saying that there's a difference between anonymity and privacy, and everyone wants inherently privacy. He says, "I'm here at Abu Dhabi Finance Week and 1% of the wealth at ADGM is greater than what is in crypto today. Those people who can bring mass liquidity and audiences will not do so with a transparent blockchain." Now, speaking of Abu Dhabi Finance Week, Charles had to head back. So there were some troubles, technical issues with flying there. So he's safe, team is safe, but Charles likely will not be at Abu Dhabi Finance Week. So just a heads up. President says private blockchains are siloed and fragmented. We need the ability to bring programmable privacy to protect your data, the transaction, your metadata, who you are, and to share that information selectively. He says we use zero-knowledge proofs to do rational privacy, which allows gateways of access, whether it's investment assets, healthcare data, supply chain data, or AI data. He says we believe that privacy with the ability to disclose information selectively within a decentralized permissionless network will bring the next generation of adoption, true adoption from a wider audience. Fahmi says the privacy narrative recognizes there's a different way to bring that decentralized ethos into blockchains. We see that with Web3 developers and traditional audiences, large corporations, large asset managers, and large healthcare providers. He says privacy, ownership, self-sovereign identity. I should be able to own those in a way to present them or proof of that for collateral, better lending, or access to a poker table, DeFi solutions, etc., under my control, not someone else. He says, I want to create a fairer world where ownership is truly at the control of the individual. Small developers to large corporations all get the concept. We hope Knight unites Web3 and Web2 to bring more adoption on-chain. He goes on to say that most websites and applications by default capture your data. You have to make an active decision to protect yourself. We are saying you should have privacy by default and disclosures by choice. I think that's refreshing. Fahmi says choice is a very important word. Choice basically gives you freedoms. Choice and freedom together give you empowerment to make the right decisions at the right time to protect your identity and assets. Fahmi says zero knowledge poker. I can prove my age via mathematical proof, provide proof I am a citizen of a certain country, of a certain state, and proof of my credit rating or credit position, getting me to the right poker table at the right time. And speaking of, poker dealers, for example, can provide absolute zero knowledge proof that the deck that they are shuffling is 52 different cards and that I'm not being gamed by the system. It works both ways. It works for both parties, creating a better interaction. So he's been giving a lot of great examples, and it gets even better. Midnight President says that Midnight Network launches Q1, February 2026 is the target. Midnight gives access with the token to its privacy-enabling programmable solutions. We have over 100 partners, small and large, building in Midnight Preview, ready to deliver products and applications. He says we're looking at real-world asset solutions, privatized vaults, deposit vaults, to potentially earn yield that retains disclosure and privacy elements. We're working with partners to bring potential privatized DEXs and permissionless DEXs. This one I really like. He says we have worked with a large potential private bank that will bring privatized deposit assets and privatized money market funds and other things into the network. Fahmi says we're working with partners who are bringing healthcare solutions, the ability to put healthcare data on-chain or proof of that data, and to allow them to monetize the research in that data. Fahmi says Knight is working a lot around AI counterparts, how you verify proof of AI, proof of data use, agentic AI. As agentic AI becomes bigger with its use cases, we will see firms and automated solutions hereby present a proof that you are the end user, you are the client. He says we will have DeFi, real world, and tokenized solutions. We'd like for people to recognize that we can become the privacy engine to both Web3 and Web2, the proof engine, an almost invisible layer of technology. Fahmi says Midnight can be an issuance layer to every other chain. We want to work with Solana, Ethereum, Arbitrum, Stellar, and more. They bring solutions we don't have. Equally, we can give them solutions they don't have, right? And he emphasized that we want to cooperate. There's no tribalism. The age of cooperation. He says when you think about technology as a whole today, technologies are not built by a single company. We can be that issuance layer, that privacy layer, identity layer that can connect to both Web3 and Web2. Now, often Charles talks about like a simple API as an example that gets better and better. And why would you go out of your way to just spend all the time and money to recreate ChatGPT, recreate Gemini, right? You can just white label something, you could just plug it in, good to go. And I also think of the example of technology working together in the automobile industry, right? You see a tire manufacturer, engine, transmission, paint, metal, this, that. There's a lot that goes together on even the simplest of products. So I do look forward to the day where more and more blockchains work with synergy. One more day, so December 10th is essentially like the earliest you can redeem, and we'll take a look at that in terms of the schedule. But let's take a look at what else is going on. Polymarket predicts a 97% chance the Federal Reserve will cut interest rates by 25 basis points tomorrow, December 10th. So nearly 100%. U.S. National Bank regulator says banks can act as crypto intermediaries. Also, Ondo Finance, and this is great for the whole ecosystem. The SEC has closed an investigation into Ondo without any charges, just dropped. So great. SpaceX plans to go public at a $1.5 trillion valuation in 2026, the largest IPO in history. Interesting. $150 billion added to the crypto market today. Let's take a quick glance at midnight in just a second, but just a quick look at the thawing schedule examples. Midnight.gd/redeem. So the earliest day is December 10th. That's that day one. So when you get your tokens, there are 4 thaws. And if you're super lucky, you get in the earliest phase. Day 1, 91, 181, 271. If you're the least lucky, then you go 90, 180, 270, 360. Essentially getting your last thaw towards the end of 2026. So it's basically like that. You have the 3 different time ranges and it's split 4 ways. Let's take a look at midnight right now, sitting at a $1.1 billion fully diluted valuation. Guys, don't FOMO. I'm not even FOMOing to buy or do anything. I'm just watching, because always when a TGE goes live, there's hyper volatility. And I'm just going to watch and let weeks and weeks and weeks, if not months, go by to let it fizzle out. What I'm excited to see is that there's large liquidity. A lot of DEXs participating. We're going to see more. There's already, I see $2.7 million liquidity according to Tap Tools, and over $4 million of daily volume. It's good to finally, as much as I love SNEC, you guys know I like meme coins. I think every project has its own utility. It's good to finally see a blue chip project to really showcase Cardano, and a lot of benefits. And I think that midnight will bring a lot of integrations soon. So guys, be safe. Don't FOMO. Double, triple, quadruple check everything, whether it's token ID and whatnot. Slow and steady wins the race. Jumping over to TradingView, we can see ADA at 463. So it enjoyed a brief pump to 48, which is good. A little bit of green. And XRP 2.08. Speaking of XRP, I may cover it in a future video, but they're also bringing zero knowledge proofs. The proposal is in the works. So, and of course, XRP, a lot of synergy between ADA and XRP, which I like because I'm holding both. Bitcoin back in the 90s, which is good. I like that, setting some higher lows. We don't know, in the words of Ivan, I was watching an Ivan on Tech video today. I like how he just follows the trend. I don't know where we'll go. I just like to be a contrarian and just watch the market. I'm not a market maker, right? So I do think that mass liquidity will come. My speculation, my hypothesis is that there will be a flood of ETFs, of big capital, of sideline stable coins. And I think it's just a matter of time. But only time will tell, right? Take everything I say with a heaping grain of salt. At the end of the day, I really enjoy this ecosystem, and I'll continue to cover all the Fuego news. So hard to really say what's the most exciting thing, because at the end of the day, there's been a lot of great stuff shared by the Midnight Foundation president. So big shout out to him in the OKX space this morning. It was brief, but he shared tons of amazing updates and who they're working with. So big respect to Midnight Foundation and the president that they have. So big ups to Fahmi. Let me know what you're most excited about, guys. Let me know what your speculation is with the price of Midnight. I still think, take your time, because the unlocks have not really happened for the DeFi participants. So this valuation could tumble. That's what I'm saying, is that just be careful, because this thawing needs to actually take place and there could be some hyper volatility. So just be Safu. Slow and steady wins the race. Smash that subscribe, smash that like. I'll see you guys in the next Angry Crypto Show.